How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. If you're new to this channel, we do this 5 days out of the work week. Maybe you had a long, maybe you had a stressful day, or maybe it was in market conditions. Well, you came to watch this video, plus hear one of my corny jokes. Here it comes. How can you tell a vampire likes baseball? Every night he turns into a bat. Not too bad. So today we're going to be talking about 5 stocks. We've talked about these stocks on the channel except one of them, but I want to do a different format for you guys. So the first stock we're going to be going over is OCGN. We saw a lot of volatility inside of the market. We saw the SPY pull back quite a bit. So we have to take into consideration it did hold up fairly strong, closing at $7.45. One area that I want to see hold up is that $7.40 level. Even when we take a look at the turnover ratio on the day, it was around 3.10%. So what this means is there are still many who are holding shares, and we did have light volume overall on the day. So that's part of the reasons why, even though we did have an outflow day and we also saw outflows on the large scale orders, I'm not too concerned about that whatsoever. And with the volatility, especially when it started coming through towards the end of the day, there was a lot more selling that was happening. And of course, that was going across the whole entire market. So I'm really not too worried about the price action. As far as going into tomorrow, it's one of those things you're definitely going to have to be prepared for. But before I move on to the next stock from OCGN, yes, I want to see it get to the $8 range. Is it going to be happening this week? Hey, it's not looking like it, especially if we have continuous volatility, but I'll be definitely looking forward to seeing it get there, especially if we end up getting that EUL that should be coming up soon. You know what? Not even soon. We got to wait all the way into September. But of course, I feel like this can really give the stock a nice boost. For the second stock, we're going to be talking about Senseonics. You guys know how much I love this play. When we first got into it, or when I told you guys I was getting into a position, it was around $2.20. Here we are. Sense ended up closing the day out at $3.88. So as far as going into after hours, the last time I checked, we're around $3.90. So you know we're looking forward to making that move, going to the $4 range either tomorrow or sometime next week. Due to the fact we had a lot of volatility, I was very impressed with the overall performance. I swear it was like one of the few stocks that were on my list that were green, so that was great to see from Sens. We also do know there's a lot of FOMO that is coming into this play as well. Many are waiting on the FDA approval and they're playing it for that particular fact. Another thing we also take a look at, when I was seeing the turnover ratio, it is around 3.98%. Many who are holding their shares and they're waiting out for the big time news if we end up getting it, but do know it does come with a lot of volatility here, so I want to make sure that is something to understand. But overall on the day for Senseonics, it was definitely solid. One thing I also want to bring to your attention, as far as for the inflows and for the outflows, we ended up having an outflow day, but at the same time we mainly had more sales going on the small scale order side. So like I said, even though an outflow day, we still did pretty good. And for the second stock, AMC. So it ended up having a red day, closing at $40.31. But one thing, when I was taking a look at the order flow distribution, even though we did have an outflow day, we did have a surplus of large scale orders. So that's something to keep in mind. What I want to see AMC do is hold up that $40 level. There does seem to be a trend when it comes to Thursdays and as well as Fridays. AMC does tend to sell off. So I know a lot of traders like to play in that particular kind of a direction. But if you are holding shares, of course, all of the fluctuations and the volatility that you're seeing, you should not be concerned about. And part of the reasons why I know there is a lot of traders inside of this play, we had well over 100 million in volume. And as far as for the turnover ratio, it was around 21%. So those are a good amount of shares that are being exchanged. And that's not taking into consideration all of the manipulation that goes down inside of this stock as well. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on AMC to see how well it performs going into tomorrow. And for the fourth stock, it's going to be MMAT, that also ended up having a red day, closing at $3.46. One of the areas that I want to see hold up is right at $3.41. We've talked about this level in the past, and if it can hold this going into tomorrow and maintain it, then of course you want to look forward to seeing some momentum continue. Another thing, when I was taking a look at the order flow distribution, we could see we ended up having an outflow day overall in general, but the good thing is we didn't see any large scale orders on either side. And as far as for this turnover ratio, it was around 3.17%. So there were many who were holding their shares. So as far as the overall volume is concerned, you could tell it was fairly light compared to how many shareholders we have out there. So of course, if you are holding shares, you still should remain bullish when it comes to MMAT. And another thing that I want to put out there so you're aware, when we tested that high of $3.75, if we're able to get above that level, whether it's going into tomorrow or sometime next week, things can get very interesting and we could possibly get into that $4 range. So let's be patient and let's see what happens. And for the fifth and final stock that we're going to be talking about, which you've never actually spoken about on this channel, is Pinterest. I'm just hoping that I said that correctly. There's a lot of things I like about this stock. So it ended up actually finishing green on the day alongside with Senseonics. But another thing we want to be aware of, as far as for the order flow distribution, yes, it was mainly an outflow day, but it had a surplus of large scale orders. So whenever I see this kind of behavior, and due to the fact it's been on quite the run, and I'm going to be talking about some other factors as well, is something that I want to make sure you keep on your radar. So when they ended up releasing their earnings, they ended up getting dumped. Of course, it was not perceived well, but they are picking things back up. And we do have to look forward to seeing a gap fill in this particular play, and it's part of the reasons why I love the technical setup. Also, when we take a look at the previous history, yes, it's filled gaps in the past. So I want to see a continuation of that, and so far it's doing a really good job, and the fact that it showed a lot of strength on a very volatile day was good to see. So the next level that I want to see pins actually get to is around $58.75. If it can pick up momentum above this level, of course, I'm going to look forward for a continuation. And of course, this is an opportunity where you can make some profits, whether you want to buy some calls or you want to buy some shares. Another thing is, as far as for the turnover ratio, it was around, I think, like 1.5%. And that is crazy. So what that tells us, there's many who are holding on to their shares. Another thing that I love about this play, as far as for institutional ownership, so pretty much how much they own out of all of the shares outstanding, it is well over 80%. And as far as the things that I tend to look out for stocks that have the potential to move up, hey, it's looking pretty good in my personal opinion. Another thing is, with all of these stocks that I cover with you guys, they all have short squeeze potential. I know you guys probably saying like, Dre, do you just look for plays that have short squeeze potential? No, but at the same time, we have to take into consideration, yes, things have been very volatile. So we're gonna have a lot of bears coming out, a lot of shorts coming out, wanting to drive down the price. And due to the fact that we don't have as much volume as we were trading with before, it does give them the right environment to do that. That's why it is very important to see how your stock performs when the market is very volatile, because depending on how it performs will tell you, hey, how much demand is actually out there for that stock and how many people are actually willing to hold shares or even take advantage of dips and buying opportunities. And it's part of the reasons why I was sharing turnover ratios with you guys. Let me know inside of the comments if you want me to do that consistently throughout the videos, because I feel that is very important, alongside of figuring out, hey, is this stock mainly owned by institutions or is it mainly owned by retail investors or traders? The reason why you want to take this into consideration, because this will contribute to the volatility. You already know, as far as retail investors and traders are concerned, usually when the stocks are going down, that's when they want to sell out of their positions, and institutions scoop up those cheap shares. So when you get into a stock and it's mainly owned by institution, the price action seems to look a lot more natural, especially during volatile times. So this is a little bit of a nugget that I wanted to share with you. So as far as how things are going to be looking like going into tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of questions. We have Jerome Powell. He's going to be dropping down that big news in regards to an update with tapering. A lot of people are going out there saying, well, you know what, the market's going to crash. It's going to be a big time pullback. We're going to have a correction. I say, you know what, let's remain positive. We haven't heard anything as of yet, but do know this does contribute to volatility inside of the markets. And this is why I want to make sure that you guys are aware of this. And if you want to actually play off the volatility and as well as the fear, then definitely look into an ETF called the UVXY. I actually use it as a tracker, but it's one of those ETFs where if you can get in and out very quickly, it could be very beneficial because it does spike when there's a lot of fear in the market. And if you want to compare it alongside with the SPY. That's what I do, and I find it very, very helpful. And I feel it gives me a really good grasp as far as how things are moving in the market, along with other indicators that I use as far as for the Dow and all that. I won't go into that with this video, but hey, if you guys want me to share my watch list that I use to actually track the market, I can do a video on that as well. Just let me know inside the comment section. So that pretty much sums up all I wanted to really talk to you guys about today, but make sure you guys keep an eye on pins. I'm really liking the setup, and I wanted to make sure I bring it across your radar. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.